Dear sir, oh madam, will you read my book? It took me years to write, will you take a look? It's based on a novel by a man named Lear, and I need a job, so I want to be a paperback writer. Paperback writer. It's a dirty story of a dirty man, and his clinging wife doesn't understand. His son is working for the Daily Mail. It's a steady job, but he wants to be a paperback writer. Paperback writer. Paperback writer. Writer. Do 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 do. Hey, welcome to today's speech report. It's 1,000 pages, give or take a few. I'll be writing more in a week or two. I can make them longer if you like the style, and I can change it around, and I want to be a paperback writer. Paperback writer. If you really like it, you can have the rights. It could make $1 million for you overnight. If you must return it, you can send it here. But I need a break and I want to be a paperback writer. Paperback writer. Paperback writer. Writer. Do 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 do. Whoops, sorry. Do 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 do. Paperback writer. Paperback writer. So yes, I always wanted to be a paperback writer. I always wanted to be a journalist. I always wanted to be like Laura Ingalls Wilder, who was my all-time biggest mentor, even though she died 100 years before I was even born. But boy, did I love her books. I loved growing up on the Little House on the Prairie. Did you grow up in the Little House on the Prairie too? A lot of us did. And those were some of the best years of my life. That was where I learned to love reading and love books, but also that was where I got my desire to eventually be a writer. So welcome guys. Hello. I know I'm like looking kind of crazy. It took my hair out of braids all night. I don't think it's helping. Having a bad hair day, but that's okay. Only 8 people are seeing it. I know, Reggie. Love you so much. Love you guys. Good to see you. Always wonderful. Good morning, Dr. Bob. I can't wait to see you again at the Flight 93 Memorial. It is going to be epic this year. I haven't been there on 9/11 since, I think the only time I ever went was when it first opened. Hi, Susan. Thank you. I hope you have a blessed day too. So that was another thing I wanted to do with this show today, realizing that they may well get rid of my videos on jillbooks.com and there's nothing I can do about it. So I have to do something, and I guess I'll just show them to you. So if you guys have ever been to the Flight 93 Memorial, raise your hand, let me know, because I am about to take you there in a video. And keep in mind that nobody can go in there in video ever again. I was only able to do this because I am a journalist, was a journalist, but I was a journalist actually writing for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, but not writing for them so much as I am a freelance journalist. And I have always, thank you, Reggie. Love you so much. I have always been a freelance journalist. Well, okay, that's not true. I started out my career on the Jersey Shore, where I was hired by the Sandpaper, which is a Jersey Shore news magazine. So I worked for them for 3 years, and everything that I wrote for them belongs to them. When you're a journalist and you get hired by a news company, whether it's a newspaper or a magazine or whatever it is, but when you're working for them and you write, then they own all of your work. And you can never say, oh, I'm going to put this in a book without getting their permission, and they might well charge you. So, you know, your work is not your own. And that's why when I did finally, well, I quit the Sandpaper to move to New York City and become a television writer. And then I was also working for Univision. Yeah, I think it was Univision that owned, well, anyway, it was owned by MTV Networks, but I was working for Nickelodeon. But my check said, not Univision. Gosh, I can't remember who owned Nickelodeon. Oh, one of those big companies. I don't remember. Maybe my checks came from MTV Networks. I'm not sure. Anyway, what was my point even? Oh, well, so when I wrote scripts for Nickelodeon, which I did, because I was hired by them, they owned them. So, and I only got like $150 a script, which is, you know, in the TV industry, pretty bad. That's why we used to say Nickelodeon. They nickel and dime you as a writer. So also they used me as an extra on their set all the time. And I'm going to show you one crazy time when I was used as an extra on a Nickelodeon set. And it wasn't even the show I was working on, which was called Don't Just Sit There. It was for the show that was also going on in the same studio, which was the Jim Henson studio on 55th Street. You guys are starting to learn this lingo and stuff, right? So anyway, I starred in this promo for the show that was also being produced, which was Total Panic. And wouldn't you know, it started to run on the 4th of July. I believe the year was 1988, or maybe 1989. Good morning, Jim. Thank you. I know my journey is crazy. Hey, Princess Laura. So anyway, yeah, I would think it was 4th of July, like 1989 or maybe 1988. I don't remember. But anyway, I'm so old. So this promo started to run like all the time, like every time I turned on the TV. And the only reason I owned a TV at that point was because I was on the TV and I was writing for the TV, and I always said I hated television, but I wanted to be the people writing the television, not watching the television. I don't like to watch things happen. I want to be involved. I have like big fear of missing out. Okay, I'm going to play my promo for you. So if you will indulge me, if you've ever seen this, this is actually on my YouTube page, so you can watch it for yourself. But I'm going to play it for you now, even though I really wanted to play my stuff from JillBooks.com. But here we go. Oh, wait. Oh.
Watch Nickelodeon's Total Panic.
Hold on.
Grow tense and nauseous.
Hold on, I gotta replay this because the sound was off. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Here it comes. That time I starred in a Nickelodeon promo.
What happens when grown-ups and kids watch Nickelodeon's Total Panic?
That's me.
Grown-ups grow tense and nauseous.
I'm wearing a wig.
Win prizes at home. Grown-ups see stars.
Good morning, Lisa.
Kids see stars, hot bands, and great games.
See that? Heather Locklear's in it, too.
Totally panic. Kids lose control and totally panic. The evidence is conclusive. Nickelodeon's Total Panic is strictly for kids.
How do you like that fall-down situation, huh?
9:30, 8:30 Central on Nickelodeon.
Pretty funny. Let's watch it one more time, so you know that was me.
What happens when grown-ups and kids watch Nickelodeon's Total Panic? Grown-ups grow tense and nauseous. Kids win prizes at home. Grown-ups see stars and twitch a lot. Kids see stars, hot bands, and great games. Grown-ups lose control and totally panic. Kids lose control and totally panic. The evidence is conclusive. Nickelodeon's Total Panic is strictly for kids.
Okay, yeah, I love to watch that. It just makes me laugh. But you know what? If Jill says that she starred in a commercial with Heather Locklear and Kirk Cameron, you can back me up on that. It's absolutely true. And yes, Heather Locklear and Kirk Cameron were on the set, and I did meet them. I didn't meet them like, hey, I'm Jill. I met them like, can I get you some coffee? But seriously, I was a production assistant, and no, I didn't even meet them like that. I'm lying. But, you know, they were in the green room, and I saw them, and I walked past them and stuff like that. Although I will say I did get to meet the stars, and we did have an opportunity to have dinner with Star Trek King. What's his name? God, I swear I'm 59 and I'm losing all of my words and everything. I think I might be having a stroke. No, I'm not. I'm joking. Shatner, William Shatner. He was such a nice man. I mean, talk about a good guy. He came on the show, Don't Just Sit There, that I was working on. And and he was great on the show, and the kids just loved him. And afterwards, he took everybody out to dinner. Like everyone on the crew, the PAs, the cameramen, everybody. And he was so nice. And then he took us out to see the movie, to see his new movie. It was a Star Trek movie. I'm not a Trekkie. I can't say any more about it. I probably fell asleep for most of the movie because that's how I handle movies. I see the beginning. I see the end. I never get to see the middle. That's how it works. But anyway, it's why I don't go to the movies. So he was such a nice guy. Another star I remember meeting, it's definitely the shift, Jill, because it started with me in February. My recall memory is shrinking. Ooh, yikes. And I usually pride myself on my great memory. You see how I can do all of those lyrics and everything. I've always had a really, really good memory, like photographic. So anyway, and Kirk Cameron, he was part of the cult, but transitioned to become a preacher of God and Jesus Christ. That's right, he did. He did. And I used to work with the young Will Friedle, who was 10 years old when I met him, and he was one of the kids on the show. And I actually wrote a script with him, but I don't want to talk about that right now. It's a lot. What else? One more celebrity name I'll drop on that one is Sigourney Weaver. So there was one day, Jim. One day, my grandparents came to New York City to visit me. Because my grandparents, you guys, I'm going through grieving, and I'm not just grieving the third year since Ray is gone, or the half year going on more than that since Muffin's gone, but it's hitting me all of a sudden with my grandparents are gone, my parents are gone. I say grandparents first because, man, I love my grandma like nobody. She was my heart. And my grandparents, my parents supported me all the time too. But your grandparents, if you have good grandparents, you know what I mean. They're just made different. They just love you more. Like maybe not more, but more. I don't know what it is. But boy, my grandma loved me so much. And I still feel it. Trying not to cry here. I don't wear eye makeup anymore because too much crying. But anyway, my grandparents had come to visit me because I was working on a TV set in New York City and they wanted to see it. They would come visit me at college. Everywhere I was, my grandparents would come to visit me. So they came to see me and I told them they could come to the studio and I could get them on the set. And they were so excited. Thank you, Jim. I feel your hugs, you guys. Thank you. Anyway, I had them on the set and we were standing like right off to the side. There were bleachers where the kids would sit. That was the audience. And Sigourney Weaver had come in and she was literally standing there next to my grandfather. And I always used to call my grandfather a telephone pole because he was so tall. And grandma was Orange Cat and Poppy was telephone pole. Or Joe Cool. We also called him Joe Cool because he was Joe Cool. But anyway, Poppy's standing there and Sigourney Weaver is like this far above him. And I'm like, whoa. And I Poppy, Sigourney Weaver's taller than you are. He's like, what? It was one of the best days of my life and I'll never forget it. And then, not just that Sigourney Weaver was taller than Poppy, but when Poppy realized that he was standing next to Sigourney Weaver, he was pretty blown away and he was super excited. So we had a lot of fun working in New York City with the famous people. Lisa says, I docked yachts on the island and met many celebrities. Johnny Carson, Barbara Eden, many, many. Yeah, sometimes I actually had the chance to interview these celebrities. I'll never forget the time I met not Julie Andrews. Guys, I'm losing it. Keith's mom on the Partridge Family. The heck was her name? Oh, so bad. You guys have to help me. Goodness. I wrote a whole article about her. Yeah, could you help me here, please? You guys are always so good about it. Remember the Partridge Family mom? What the heck was her name? I'm like blanking so hard. And when I'm doing a show and I'm blanking, it's like double whammy because it's pressure. I might have to go back and revisit that story again if you guys aren't going to tell me what her name is because you always know everything. That's what I love doing the show about. Hi, Vicky. Good morning. Vicky's going to take the pressure off. She hasn't been watching. Okay, let's go back. Thank you, Jim. Shirley Jones. Exactly. Okay, so now it's all coming back to me now. So I had this big speech. Well, not a big speech, but I had this thing I wanted to say to Shirley Jones. And I did. And what I said was, choking myself. Okay, I'm all right. Okay, I said, Shirley Jones, the mother-in-law I never had. How's David? That's what I said to her. And she started laughing and she goes, oh, you dodged a bullet. He's on his fourth wife. And I was like, oh, thank you for telling me. It was so funny. And then I proceeded to follow her around like a puppy for the rest of this gala benefit she was at. And she was very nice and tolerated me with my notebook, just jotting down everything she said. The question was, Shirley Jones, you're the mother-in-law I never had. How's David? That was what I had to say to her. So anyway, my pops worked security for different events in Boston. So some I got to meet as a young preteen. Yeah, those famous people, man. Yes, it was Shirley Jones, Bobby. I got the cutest picture with her too. I'll find it one of these days and put it up and show you guys. Because I've met a lot of really, really cool people as a journalist. Now, what this show is all about is about journalism. And I have been a journalist since I graduated from the Ohio University Scripps School of Journalism. Scripps being the E.W. Scripps School of Journalism. Like all those newspapers are E.W. Scripps newspapers, which, now that I think about it, is not cool to have like an umbrella organization for news. I don't know. It seems like it is a road down to what we're having right now. When I graduated, before I graduated actually, in journalism school, I was trained for magazine journalism, not really newspaper journalism. I wanted to write for like Teen Magazine. I wanted to write for Good Housekeeping. I could sing oh, Jim, come on along, everybody, come on, get happy. But that's not one of my favorites. Jim, you're killing me now. You know how to take me off the target, don't you? There's, cause there is a song I want to sing. I love them. I love the Partridge Family. And wait, okay. It's, I Think I Love You. I also love Point Me in the Direction of Albuquerque. When I was a little girl, I thought they were singing Albuquerque. I didn't know what Albuquerque was. I want to go home to my loving family. All right, I'm probably going to get demonetized for this, but I think we all need this right now. Wait, let me play this on here with a better speaker. You need a better speaker, don't you? Hold on. Hold on, guys. I'm just doing some technical work here. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Okay, let's see. Where is it? History. There we go. Okay, you guys ready? Good. Gonna do. All right, that's enough for the singing right now. All right, thank you, Jim, for pulling me totally off topic. Okay, where were we before I went into the Shirley Jones and Partridge Family rant? Yes, let's dance and spin around. Yeah, I know it's a little early for me to be spinning, but I'm dancing. I'm trying it the best I can. Okay, so here I did want to this is one of the reasons that I've got to do these shows from my days on JillBooks.com is so that I can keep these lives alive, if you know what I mean. Okay, I wanted to show you a walk through the Flight 93 Memorial, which you don't get to do unless you're covering it as a journalist, which is what I did, which is how I know this. I'm going to turn the camera around. Sticks! Oh my gosh, Jamie, that is awesome. Now, there's something very special about what you're looking at here. This is the last display in the Memorial's Visitor Center. And here is my special part of the memorial. I left that little plane, the little Swiss airplane, the plush with my children, a week after 9/11. And I captured that moment in my book. The United States will never forget. So this was back when I was a journalist writing articles for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette as a freelance writer. That flag that you see right there, that was actually used when I was in Butler a few weeks ago at Corey Comperatore's memorial concert. That exact flag. I have pictures of it. I gotta post it. George Bush. And that what happened above this Pennsylvania field ranks among the most courageous acts. And that's what it looked like when I left that plushy little airplane at the site. That's where I left it, what you just saw. Look how big that flag is. That's not the same flag. As each day and year passes, as we have come to better understand. This is right after it happened. And this shows in the memorial. You see this video. You can watch it as you're there. Good morning, Madeline. But for those of you who have never been to the Flight 93 Memorial, if you ever want to see a memorial about 9/11, this is the one to go to. This one is even better than the one in New York City. It's much more comprehensive. And it's just, it's so Americana. It makes me cry. It's so beautiful. Especially the fact that it's out in this field. All those little kids that are now all adults. Look at them all. Thank you for saving our lives, that says. And that's that rock right there. That's a memorial rock, and that person there lost a loved one in that crash, because only people who lost loved ones get to go to that rock.
What was a former strip mine was now turned into...
It was a strip mine, and wouldn't you know that one of my friends who will be at the memorial with me this week, this September 11th, actually was a part owner of that strip mine. Can you believe that? I have so many connections to this whole situation. And my next book about 9/11 will be coming out in time for the 25th anniversary of 9/11. So I'm working hard on that one. I've learned so much since I published my first book exactly 10 years ago. This 10th anniversary is really big for me, you guys. And I'm so glad that you are here with me to witness it and to see me go to the Flight 93 Memorial on 9/11 this year. It's going to be amazing. The park ranger said that this is the busiest day they've ever had at this memorial, at the visitor center, or I guess the entire memorial. That's me talking back then.
It's never been like this before.
Do you come here often? Do you live in the area? Now I'm interviewing someone. What was it like for you on that day?
It was hard.
No. Were you at home?
No, I was at work.
In
I was in the I worked for the prison system in Pennsylvania. We locked our jails down, and then
Bob.
we all stood around and watched the TV.
Bob so we drove past the jail. Was that where you were working? No, that's pretty close to here.
No, up in Huntington County.
Okay.
But they locked all the jails down right away because of the Muslim and the terrorism threat.
Really? That's interesting. I did not ever know that.
Oh, it affected a lot more than people know.
How long was the lockdown? How long did that last?
Almost a week. Almost a week.
Wow.
And when we like I said, we locked the jails down, and we all went into the control center and watched on TV and watched the whole,
How quickly after the attacks were the jails locked down?
Oh, very quick.
Like minutes, an hour?
It was a matter of 10, 15 minutes.
10, 15. Wow.
Yeah, they can do that.
It's interesting.
I was working with a friend. We were trimming trees at 3 Mile Island. I said, I think we better get out of here.
At 3 Mile Island? They locked that down
Yeah.
big time, right?
And as
Wow.
soon as we didn't finish the job, we left.
Yeah.
We
I'm
didn't
sure
know what was
they
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the most I've ever seen. I come once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Really, this is the first time this has been open now. So,
Do you still work for the prison system?
no, I'm retired now.
Okay. How did things change in the prison system after 9/11?
Not much.
No.
Not much.
Interesting.
Not much. It doesn't change.
When things changed for all the rest of us, huh? But not in the prison
Not
system?
in prison, no.
That's interesting. Wow. Thank you for telling me that. Jamie's going to be with us, you guys. Never know who you're going to meet at the visitor center. You never know who you're going to meet at the visitor center. That is so true. By the way, I will have a book signing here next Saturday. I'll be in front of the visitor center, signing my book, meeting people, maybe reading from it if I'm able to. But this is a really amazing place, and I think everybody should come here. This lady agrees. What do you think about it?
I think it was very touching.
Where are you from?
From Pittsburgh.
Oh, we are too.
Are you too?
Yeah, what part of Pittsburgh are you from?
McKees Rocks.
Oh,
Right
okay.
outside of Pittsburgh.
Sure. We're from the North Hills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I write for the
Neighbors?
Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely very touching.
And where were you on 9/11?
I was at work. I was in the office. Yeah.
Downtown?
No, right in McKees Rocks, Kennedy Township, actually.
Okay. Did you get sent home from work that day?
No.
What did you do?
I was trying to get my vice president back home to New Jersey, so I got him the last flight out of Pittsburgh.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow, on 9/11?
Yeah, yeah. The
There
day it
was a
happened.
flight out?
I got the last one. It was early in the morning. And,
Before 9/11, before it happened?
no, after it happened.
That's
After it
insane.
happened, yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
so
even
he
remember
got
this.
out, you know.
That-
So,
I didn't know that any flights went out after
yeah.
it
Oh,
happened.
wait a minute. I'm sorry. I take that back. Not the flight. I got him a car.
Okay.
Yeah, the last. I called the agency.
Oh, so he had to drive.
He had to drive home.
Yeah, because
you're right.
nobody was flying
Right,
after that.
exactly. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so he got like the last car that they had so he could get home.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just continued. Well, I brought the TV out and just watched TV most
Yeah.
of the day.
Well, I love your jewelry and your
Oh,
shirt.
thank you.
You're
Thank
so
you.
patriotic. Awesome.
Thank you.
And have you been to the visitor center before?
I was prior to all the new buildings,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that just had the wall, the names,
Right.
and that small wall that you
Is
walk along.
this the first time you've seen the whole visitor? So you
Yeah.
weren't here last year.
No.
Okay. What do you think about it?
I think it's beautiful.
It
and
is.
It's just such a wonderful architect, you know.
It is beautiful
Architecture,
architecture.
yeah. I mean, they paid so much attention to detail.
Yeah,
It really is.
it is very
Very
detailed
poignant.
and heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking, is right. Listening to those phone calls. Yeah, listening to
It's the worst thing, isn't it?
It's
Very difficult to listen to the phone calls. Agreed.
So, but I'm so glad they did this.
Me too. They did a wonderful job.
Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
You're welcome. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
It's emotional here.
Yeah.
So who were you?
Oh, here, wait, let me feel emotional. Okay, so I guess that's the end of that video. I have a hard time with it. Writing a book about 9/11, it's like after 9/11, I would think about it all the time. And it wasn't until maybe 9 or 10 years after 9/11 that I started to think, I keep writing about this, and it was part of my stories, you know, that I wrote. I covered school districts and municipal news for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette as a freelance writer. And that's why I was able to take those stories. I hired an editor. My good friend Jay Spire was my editor, and he's since passed away. Rest in peace, Jay. Anyway, Jay had re-edited all of my articles to put them into my book. So it was my first book, and the reason that I also wanted to write that book was because my second book, Do You Think About Me on My Birthday, just wasn't happening. It was so hard. I was writing and writing and writing. Like, I have thousands and thousands of pages for that book, but to publish it, it was too much. I don't know. I felt like it wasn't ready. And so I thought, you know, I had to prove to myself that I could become a paperback writer, like I was singing when I first started the show, because being a newspaper journalist was a dream. Being a TV writer was a dream, but becoming a paperback writer is a goal. You know, those other things were things that I all did kind of almost effortlessly, but becoming a paperback writer has been the hardest thing I've ever done. So that's why I wrote Like It Was Yesterday, a journalist's file since 9/11, because I needed to prove to myself that I could do it. And I had a story that just wouldn't leave my mind that I'd been working on for years. And I had a diary that actually finding the diary, like 10 years, what was it? Was it the 10 years after? It was 2015 when I published the book. So maybe it was like 2012, 2013 when I actually found this diary that I had written on 9/11, started it on 9/11, and I thought, this could start my book. So I did. That's how it worked. And my cousin Gary also chimed in with his version of what happened to him on that day because he was working at the Pentagon. So I have stuff in Like It Was Yesterday that no one has ever heard about 9/11. But none of it is conspiracy theory or anything that we all know something happened. We all know it's still the greatest mystery of our time, but it's a murder mystery. But I didn't write my book for that. I wrote it because after 10, 11, 12 years after 9/11, I started to realize that children didn't even know what happened. They never heard of it. You'd say 9/11, they're like, what's that? And that was just, to me, it was wrong. They were not studying it in school. And that was a problem. So I thought, I have to write a book. And now it's a verifiable history book. Can you believe that it's been 24 years since 9/11? And do you still want to cry about it? Because I do. It still hits me so emotionally. And working on this next book, I have learned so much from my first book. And a shout out to, thank you, Nelda, shout out to Mercy Lorenzo, who was the AT&T operator who took the call on 9/11 from Susan Olsen on the Flight 77 from Washington that went into the Pentagon. So I also do know that those phone calls were real and they happened, because Mercy is even in the 9/11 Commission, that bogus finding, but she's in there because she actually was part of it. So, and she always said nobody ever remembered her about 9/11 when she actually talked to Susan right before she died. That's a lot. That's a lot. Think about it. Mercy is a hero from 9/11. Yeah, I used to live in Staten Island, so yep, I was a former New Yorker myself. I only lived there for a few years, but once you live in New York, man, you're a New Yorker. It was a very amazing time in my life when I was a New Yorker. Now, everybody's going to talk about where they were on 9/11. I love it. Vicki was teaching preschool then, and someone came and told us what happened. Actually, I was taking my son Toby to preschool that day, and I walked into it was the synagogue where he went to preschool, our synagogue that I'd been going to my whole life. Anyway, I took Toby to go to school. I didn't realize they were going to cancel school, which, everybody canceled school and sent the kids home. But when I got there, the teachers, nobody knew what had happened. So I got to tell them. And believe me, I took no joy in that. They were like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, it's not me, it's all of us. Good morning, Lorena. Good morning, everybody. Donna was waiting for her mom to pick her up to take her to the airport. We were headed to DC for an Amway convention. Oh my God. You didn't get to that one, did you? Yeah. It ruined a lot more than just that week. I'll tell you what, 9/11, we're still living through it. And I do feel like with the communist Zoran Mondavi running for mayor of New York City, that's a direct result of 9/11. He's an Islamicist. And if they elect him as mayor, then we know that New York City is gone. That's all I can say. Because, think about New York City has the highest population of Jews maybe in the whole country. And if they let a communist Islamicist as their mayor, if they let him become elected, they don't vote or whatever they don't do or do, or if they do vote, yes, this is live, Laura, then I gotta wonder about New York and New Yorkers and the Jews who live in New York. Because it's bad scene. really bad scene. Okay, so I'm going to go back to talking about journalism and how it's changed since I became a journalist in 1987. That was when I graduated from journalism school. I did my internship at the Jewish Chronicle of Pittsburgh, which was where actually my baby announcement was in that newspaper. And the executive editor, his name was Joel Roteman, and he was the dad of one of my good friends, Phyllis. So I haven't talked to Phyllis in a long time. Like, I don't think we were friends at that point. But anyway, her dad, Joel Roteman, I think that he has since passed away, but he was such an amazing guy. And he just took me under his wing and taught me everything about the newspaper business. And he would do, I mean, from soup to nuts. He had me down. Now, back in the day when I became a journalist, we had to lay the paper out. And that meant there was this big room and all these boards, and the newspaper, even the lines in the newspaper had to be laid out. Like, people do it now on a computer, but back then it was all done by hand. And we had, the 18-point lines, the little tiny 8-point lines. We had all of the stories would get printed out on a special printer, and they would get laid out on the paper, and someone had to do this job, and it was a big deal to lay out the newspaper. So as an intern, Mr. Roteman took it very seriously that I learn everything. So I would go down with them while the editor was laying it out, and Mr. Roteman was working on it too. He even took me to the printing press to show me where the paper got printed. So he literally taught me every single thing there was to know. But who knew that you would never have to lay out a newspaper ever again? And I don't think that's how it works anymore. Now they do it all on computers. Andrew, hey Andrew, good to see you, my friend. What was that you just said? I just missed that comment. Something about your niece's hubby. Oh my gosh, there's like all these comments. I'm not even seeing them. Oh, there they are. My niece's hubby worked in the South Tower running into Carnival where I worked. Running into the building like OJ screaming, Bin Laden did this. Took hours to find out. They were on the train to Westchester. There were 4 of their company that survived. Oh my gosh. I have another video. I don't know if I'm going to show it to you today, though. Maybe tomorrow, about my brother. The reason I wrote this book, like it was yesterday, a journalist file since 9/11, the reason I wrote it was because my brother survived 9/11, and I couldn't find him. And it was the scariest thing I could ever imagine, that this horrible situation was happening and my brother was right there, and I didn't know where he was. I didn't know what he was doing. It was just crazy. So here, this is also interesting. This is the First Amendment area at the Flight 93 Memorial. Hello, we're live in front of the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And this gentleman, his name is Tom, and he's standing in what is known as the First Amendment section of the Flight 93 Memorial. Tom, what's your thought behind this? Have you been planning this for a while?
Yeah, I've done it this year and the past 2 years, protesting President Obama and what he did in the Middle East.
We know this is true. Muslim Brotherhood, guys.
Morsi, the Muslim Brotherhood, asking President Mubarak to step down. And then the Egyptians protested nationwide with 30 million people in Egypt to try to get rid of Morsi because he was far more repressive than Mubarak was. And Obama supported installing Morsi. And there are arrest warrants out for Obama and Hillary in Egypt. People don't know that.
Did not know that.
And he helped al-Qaeda who were in Libya and Syria before ISIS was formed, because he was against President Assad in that civil war. Plus, he got involved in the Libyans against Gaddafi, and Hillary was proud of them taking care of Gaddafi. And that's basically why I'm here, knowing how President Obama is, can't even say the two words Islamic terrorism, and continues to just call ISIS ISIL instead of what it really is, ISIS.
How difficult was it for you to stand in front of the Flight 93 Memorial? Did you say you had to get clearance from the National Park Service to do this?
Applied for a permit, yeah. They approved that, so.
He's saying he had to apply for
I'm
a
with a group
permit.
called Overpasses for America.
Overpasses for America? Oh, you make signs on overpasses.
That's right.
Oh, how has that been going? How long has that been happening?
That group was formed in June of 2013, and we've had 9,000 events nationwide since it started.
9,000 events nationwide.
And 1 month last year, that website, Overpasses website, had 32 million website visits in 1 month.
What is the website for it? What's it? Overpasses.com?
Overpassesforamerica.org.
Oh, overpassesforamerica.org.
And we're on Facebook, and there is a group for every state
Okay, interesting.
on Facebook. I'm in the Facebook group.
Okay, good. So am I. So, Tom, how long have you been standing here today?
Well, I got here about 2 o'clock. I was supposed to start at 1, but got a little late. And I usually do it from 1 to 5.
And what kind of reaction do you get from people?
Mostly support. Some people it's not going to resonate with, don't like it, but a lot more support than not.
That's interesting. Have you been like abused or anything? Anybody saying nasty things to you?
Well, some people, yeah, they do that. They just don't like it, and they say get a life and stuff like that.
Okay.
Even on the overpasses, when I'm on overpasses in the Pittsburgh area, they drive by, and yell out vulgar things.
So, do you find there is more support for you than there is?
Yes, more support.
That's wonderful. All right, Tom. Is there anything else that you want people to know?
No, that's all.
Okay. All right, Tom. Thank you so
you.
much. Let me get a good picture of your sign. And
That's a fact
yeah,
right there,
and this-
guys.
we just wanted to note there's a sign over here that says,
Monica,
First
girl, you gotta
Amendment
help me.
area.
You gotta share this stuff.
so you can say what you want in this little piece of grass here, little yard. Tom is exercising his constitutional right. Good for him. Everybody have a great day. This is Jill leaving the Flight 93 Memorial Center soon. See you, Lenny. Bye.
Okay. So, really, I think such important information that we can never forget. And I've forgotten a lot of the stuff I'm seeing here. It's just incredible. Do you want to see something else from the Flight 93 Memorial? Well, actually, in the group, I don't know the New Revolution. Monica, if you could send me invites to those groups, that would be great. But you also need to do your part, you guys. I can't be the only one sharing, so you have to help me share and help the beach report. Well, that's another thing. I can't do these shows on the beach report anymore because more than a year ago, they accused me of something I did not do. And so they are shadow banning me, and that's very apparent. But this page, my Jilly Cohen page, is also shadow banned, but not as badly. So that's why I go live on here. And that's one way in which journalism has changed. I wrote for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette until like 2017, 2016. And of the two papers in Pittsburgh, we had the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and we had the, oh my gosh, Pittsburghers help me out, the Tribune Review. So I've always been a Post-Gazette girl, been writing for them, like I said, since 2001, since right after 9/11. I know, Vicki. It's funny because people talk about me like I don't have a job and I don't make any money. That's just like crazy. I've always been a freelance writer and a journalist. It doesn't make for a linear job. Like I'm not always employed by a company, but the reason that I don't, and I can post I will post this on YouTube actually, Laura, so that'll be in my video section if you want to watch it there. Anyway, the reason that I have never, like I explained before, I am better off as a freelance journalist because my goal is always to be a paperback writer. I always wanted to write books. Like I said, I grew up with Laura Ingalls Wilder, just thinking that that was the best thing in the world, and that's what I wanted to do. So I always wanted to be a book writer. But I got into journalism first, and when you write as a journalist, especially a freelance journalist, I have thousands and thousands and thousands of articles that I've written over the years. I always get paid as a journalist. In fact, when I first was publishing, like it was yesterday, I was told I got a media coach, and he said, you know, you have to go on Facebook. And I did not want to go on Facebook because I feel like when I go on Facebook, I was just giving it away, you know, writing things like working like I do for newspapers and magazines. That didn't seem right. But then I did start doing some stuff on Facebook. And then, you know, I got hired by the little, that guy, and was writing hard news for like all day long, man. And I was getting only $10 an article, which is like horrible, horrible pay. But he actually had me curating the news. Now, that's something that has changed journalism, this curating of the news, where you've got an outlet like Breitbart or DML News, just going to say it. That's what they do, where they show you the news stories of the day. So if a really big outlet like CNN, like let's not even talk about CNN because really it has been propaganda since day one. And I noticed that. I lived in Switzerland when CNN came online and I'm like, what is this crap? Anyhow, I digress. Let's say we have a big newspaper, and I'm not going to say the New York Times either because they also have turned to the propaganda dark side. But let's just say the Chicago Tribune. Another one. I don't know. Anyway, let's say a big outlet runs a story and then everyone else picks up on it. Not because it's an important story, mind you, but because it ran in a big outlet on the cover because they decided it was an important story. And then everybody else is like, ooh, that's an important story. It ran on the cover of the Chicago Tribune. So yes, Melissa, I have always worked hard to give you guys the facts as a journalist, and also I feel like I'm an educator. No, we don't watch CNN. However, we have to be aware that there are people out there watching CNN and MSDNC and learning things that aren't true. I put out a list on Facebook just yesterday, a long ass list of all the lies the media has told us and all the things that they've spun and how here's one story about CNN. When I was a young mommy and I just gave birth to my second baby, it was in Switzerland. I had my children in a foreign country. By the way, they can never be president. Do they even know this? I'm not sure. Anyway, my kids were born in Switzerland. And when my son was born, that was the same day as the Atlanta bombing of the Olympics. Remember that? July 23rd, 1996. Can't forget that day. So anyway, the Atlanta bombing had happened either the day before that or that day. I don't really remember. I was in the hospital giving birth, but they had a TV in my room, which is kind of weird for Switzerland because Switzerland was very backwards back then. I don't know what it's like now, but having a baby in Switzerland was like having a baby in the 50s. Just saying. They did keep me in the hospital for a week, which was nice. Kind of. Anyway. Having a baby in another language, we could talk about that, and it was it was a lot. Anyway, Toby was born, right? So I'm watching CNN, and they're talking about the Atlanta. I should pull this up so I make sure I get my facts right. There was a man who was a security guard, if you recall, and he had found this backpack that blew up, or like he was like one of the first people to find it. I can't look it up. You guys will have to like help me out with the facts and stuff. But anyway, there was a security guard, and almost immediately CNN targeted him as the bomber, and it was so unfair. Good morning, Kathy. And it was so not true. And they made his life hell until he eventually unalived himself because of what CNN did to him to ruin his reputation and say that he was a bomber, when actually the complete opposite was the truth. So always, always be concerned when you hear really bad things about something and you don't know who the person is and you don't know what the facts are and you are not privy to anything. Just like stay out of it and don't fuel it on and make it worse. Hi, Karen. Good morning, my friend. So good to see you. So I've been talking about how journalism has changed since I started became a journalist in 1987 when I graduated from Ohio University. Vicky was in the hospital for 3 days with her first baby, and then with the fourth baby was kicked out 8 hours later. Oh, wow. So they did not do that in Switzerland, Vicky. That drive-by baby giving or baby having thing, that's a lot. That's a lot. In Switzerland, they kept me in the hospital, and yeah. And they tried to feed my babies tea. That's the thing. You have babies in Switzerland. The first thing they want to do is give your baby tea. No, thanks. Yeah, I was a big mama. I used the sisters. You know what I mean. Anyway, yes, I was a very natural mom and tried to do everything the natural way. Anyhow, journalism. So yeah, so the TV journalists I watched, especially in the 80s, as they began to, there was a thing they said in the industry called, if it bleeds, it leads. And it's very indicative of the nature of TV journalism as the gotcha moments, you know, where they just wanted to report on stuff that was scary or upsetting or, you know, murder, blood, all that stuff. They somehow thought that would get them more views. Kathy says, my mom had 14, all 10 months apart. What? That's a lot. Anyway, news has morphed from when I was graduating as a journalist, and I started off, my first real job was at the Sandpaper in Long Beach Island, New Jersey, where I was a staff writer there, and I eventually became an editor, an associate editor, they called me. Not sure what that means, but it was a good job. And I had my own beautiful office, right? My office was so incredible. I could see the ocean on one side and I could see the beach on the other side. So I was pretty happy about that. And I was in my early 20s and I had thank you, Karen. I had a lot of crazy stories that I covered, man. Everything from hospital waste washing up on the Jersey Shore. That was the first big story I covered, actually. And it was very serious. And it was about pollution. So, hi, Debbie. A lot of stuff went on at the Jersey Shore when I started my career there. I learned so much about Save Our Oceans, and that's where I wouldn't say that I'm totally an environmentalist, but I certainly did learn a lot about the way that companies pollute our environment. For instance, back when I did that story, there's a company called Ciba-Geigy. Do you know it? It's a Swiss company, a Swiss pharmaceutical company. And this is before I knew anything about Switzerland or that I was destined to eventually live there. But Ciba-Geigy had a plant in, I think, Toms River, New Jersey. And at the time, we found out that they were pumping effluent from their factory right directly into the ocean. And they swore it was totally safe. In fact, I remember covering a lot of stories running up to Tom's River with my notebook. And we once watched one of the Ciba-Geigy officials, or whatever he was, actually take a glass and say that it was a glass of effluent and that he could drink it. I'm not sure if he did drink it. I don't remember, but it was pretty messed up. But it wasn't just that. There was hospital waste that was washing up on the Jersey Shore too. We're talking like body parts. And that happens on Long Beach Island, New Jersey. Body parts on the beach. I'm not even going to go into it unless you want me to. Because if it bleeds, it leads. Why are people so interested? Always, thank you, Debbie. Well, actually, thank Donna Wade Nightingale, my stylist. She's the best. But anyway, people have these very dark desires to know about the worst. People who, yes, very gross, Donna. People who, watch these true crime stories all the time. I wish that you wouldn't. Horror movies, stuff like that. Your brain, your subconscious is very susceptible. And when you're watching a really scary movie, your adrenaline goes up. Like you physically feel it because of your very susceptible subconscious. So it is really not good for you. In fact, I even think that actors and actresses, when they are doing kissing scenes and stuff, if I were married to an actor and he had to kiss another woman because it's part of a script on a show, I don't think I would want to be married to someone who would do that, because I feel like you're really doing it and you're acting it out. And what is your brain thinking? I think that's why we hear, yes, syringes, yeah, all that stuff. But doesn't your brain maybe think that's why they all have affairs with each other? Because they go through these motions in these movies. You watch a movie and you come out of it feeling a certain way. Now that you're mentioning this, I am remembering the story about what they are doing to the ocean and waterways. Exactly. Yeah, Vicky, you shouldn't watch scary movies. It's not good for you. It raises your adrenaline. It makes you scared. And, sometimes I think that's the goal. They want us to be scared. But in the Bible, the Lord says, do not fear, which makes me want to read from one of my favorite books. This is Sarah Young's Jesus Calling. And every day there is another page that we can read from. What is the date today? It's the 8th. Oh, by the way, I think today is the day that at noon, every light worker should stop and pray. Super hard. I have to look up what the details are of that. My friend Melissa just told me about it. Yes, and words matter. Exactly, Donna. So I do believe that when you're watching these movies and if you're acting in them, Lord help you. That's all I can say. Okay, August 8th, Jesus Calling. I speak to you from deepest heaven. You hear me in the depths of your being. Deep calls unto deep. You are blessed to hear me so directly. Never take this privilege for granted. The best response is a heart overflowing with gratitude. I am training you to cultivate a thankful mindset. This is like building your house on a firm rock where life's storms cannot shake you. As you learn these lessons, you are teaching them to others. I will open up the way before you, one step at a time. Everything that happens is an opportunity for learning, even the bad things that happens. Even when you think, ooh, this is horrible and can't get much worse. You have to look at the reason that it happened, because there's a reason for everything to happen, good and bad. But the bad things, I think, we are sent to this world to learn. So when something really awful happens, you have to look at it as a good opportunity to learn from it. And boy, I've learned a lot in the last week. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have learned these things, because I think that there is nothing more important than learning. Okay, so let's see. We've talked about how media has become biased. I love hearing the word of God too. You want me to read another page? I'm going to read another page just because it's fun. Oh, this is a good one too. This is from yesterday and I didn't read it, so I'm reading it now. Understanding will never bring you peace. This is interesting. That's why I have instructed you to trust in me, not your understanding. Human beings have a voracious appetite for trying to figure things out in order to gain a sense of mastery over their lives. But the world presents you with an endless series of problems. Was I not just talking about this? As soon as you master one set, another pops up to challenge you. The relief you had anticipated is short-lived. Soon your mind is gearing up again, searching for understanding, mastery, instead of seeking me, your master. The wisest of all men, Solomon, could never think his way through to peace. His vast understanding resulted in feelings of futility rather than in fulfillment. Finally, he lost his way and succumbed to the will of his wives by worshiping idols. My peace is not an elusive goal, hidden at the center of some complicated maze. Actually, you are always enveloped in peace, which is inherent in my presence. As you look to me, you gain awareness of this precious peace. Okay. That right there just negated everything I said about having to understand why things happened. I don't know. I do think it's important that we understand why things happen, and that's what we want to do. But it is absolutely true that when something happens and you don't understand it, you do have to lean back on your love of the Lord and look for his wisdom and do things like this book is so helpful. Jesus Calling. Enjoying peace in his presence. This is such a great book. If you don't have it, I urge you to run out and get it. You know, I do make my money selling books, like my own books that I wrote myself and published myself. You have to work hard to be in business for yourself. It's not easy. And I do get paid on Facebook and on YouTube. I am monetized by both. I make about $100 a month on YouTube and maybe $70 a month on Facebook. So it almost doesn't matter how much I post or do anything. I'm literally working with pennies here. So it's not about getting wealthy. For me, it's about doing my job as a journalist and teaching people about the world around them, because a lot of people just don't see the things that I do. And I believe the reason that I do see these things is, number one, my coming into this world as an adopted child and realizing that not everybody has the family that they start out with, and understanding that I wasn't like everybody else just by being adopted. But secondly, then they made me Jewish, which further alienated me, but also kept me away from Jesus. Because my mother was actually the woman who gave birth to me. She was Christian, and I was converted to Judaism. So I was not allowed to know who Jesus was until I was much older, but I always wanted to, you know, and I always wanted to talk about him and to think about him, but I couldn't until I could. And the reason that I accepted Jesus was actually because of you guys and because of the Beach Report, and taught me so much. And I was reading stuff to you, and I was reading from Revelations, and I was just like, all of this is making a lot of sense. And then I would read about Jesus, and now I'm reading the Bible like a lot. So it's so interesting, and I'm so glad that I have accepted Jesus because it's made my life so much better. And I hope that my testimony can help you if you have not yet accepted Jesus, especially if you're Jewish. Please read some stuff about him, because he was Jewish too. He died Jewish. So he's my brother. All right, you guys, we'll do one more old vintage, as someone called it, vintage Jill. I saw Sarah Allworth talking about, no, wait, not that one. We just did that one.
Hello, we're live in front of the...
Sorry, guys. I saw Sarah talking about my musical story times with Julie Haven, and we had so much fun. I'm not going to play a musical story time right now, but she did make a point, like, you know, Jill, you always had like kind of a weekly thing you did, and we always knew when you were going to go on, and oh, she said she would, you know, make her schedule around that, which, wow. But I know, I'm sorry, since Hurricane Ian and Ray died, it's been very difficult for me to have a regimented, normal kind of life. I really got thrown for a loop there, and it's coming up on 3 years, and I'm still finding my way after Ray has passed. And I know that what I'm doing now is very important in my growth as a journalist, as a writer, and I'm so happy that I finally finished my book, Do You Think About Me on My Birthday, proving really that I'm not working on my time. I'm working on God's time. And God, I knew that that book would get done. I just didn't know when, and God let me finish it when I had to finish it. And it was also because of you guys with your pre-orders, and that really weighed heavily on my heart, especially when some people were accusing me of stealing money, and that's not what this girl does. So I think you know that about me. Okay, here's one about, this is when President Trump was getting elected. This is kind of exciting. Let's watch this. Me too, Madeline. You watched it happen.
Hey everybody, I am live in Fort Lauderdale at the Westin Hotel, and we're at a Trump party, victory party, we hope. Yeah, so we're waiting for Florida to be called, and it's still too early to tell. We don't really know what's going on yet. We're hoping that it will be going in Trump's favor. I'm here with JJ. Hi, go Trump. Congratulations, we're gonna get you. Here's my girl. And who's this here? That's Mickey. This is Mickey. Say hi to the people, Mickey.
Well, here we are, and this is so exciting because we just won North Carolina. We're
And Ohio.
I'm getting shivers.
And Ohio.
And Ohio.
Earlier we got Ohio. Yeah,
North
this is a
Carolina
big
and
deal.
Ohio. Now let's get Florida and all the rest.
Wow, this is so cool. Modern technology.
I'll be back. I need a drink. So, as you can see, we're getting psyched. We're hoping that things will go out our way. I'm a journalist.
All right.
Yep.
No, a real truth.
I'm a real journalist.
Went to college.
I went to the Ohio University School of Journalism. And for those of you who don't know, I am an actual card-carrying journalist. No, everyone, these guys know. I write for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I'll have a story in on Friday, by the way.
Awesome. I'm for you. What are you doing?
I'm going to say goodbye for now. We'll come back when we win Florida, right? We're going to win Florida.
We're going to win Florida.
All right, it's all good. All right, see you guys soon.
Wow, I look so much younger then. Am I crazy? Do I look like super old now? I'm like, that was from, what's the date on that? Is there a date on that? November 8th, 2016. And you can see I was still writing for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. They would let me write from anywhere that I was. Hi, Catherine. I don't know. It's like, people are like, you don't always have to prove that you were a journalist.
Everybody, I am live.
Or that you are a journalist, but, you know, why not? People are always saying stuff about me that's not true, so I just have to sometimes counter it with the truth, you know? Yep, 10 years ago, Laura, almost 10 years ago. All right, well, I think it's time for me to go. I got a lot of work to do as I become a publisher, so I have to it's a lot. It's a lot. But I am enjoying watching these old shows with you guys, and like I said, they're going to be gone soon. I don't know when, but that's why I'm doing this as well. Yeah, my voice was higher. I was a young little girl then. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago. My hair sure looked different. That's kind of funny. But anyway, it's fun to watch how you've changed over the years. But I have always been this diehard journalist. It is what I am. And now I'm a paperback writer. I just love my life and I love my career. So no, I don't have a regular job. I do have a career though, which is always about writing and teaching and informing people and bringing people together. I love to do that too. And also inspiring people and helping them write their books or helping them do whatever they want in life, because a lot of people, they just need a little bit of inspiration. And I'm kind of good at that. So, well, thank you. I need an abundantly profitable day. Thank you for that wish. And again, I'm going to ask all of you to go out today, pick a random person you've never seen before, you don't know. Well, you could have seen them. It doesn't matter. Just a random person who you don't know, and don't tell them this, but just go and pray for them. Just see what happens. It's always good for you. All right, you guys, we'll see you on the next beach report. Ciao for now.